When you think about it, every big construction project is this incredible feat of planning. But let's be honest, it's also a masterclass in dealing with the unknown. Because under every single blueprint, there's a world of potential risks just waiting to threaten the whole thing.
So what happens when things inevitably go sideways? What's the one thing, the one tool that stands between a successful project and just a total financial disaster?
All right, let's get right into it. To really get a handle on this, we've got to start with the problem itself, what I like to call construction's financial nightmare. This is where even the most carefully laid plans just smash right into reality.
And I'm not talking about hypotheticals here. These are the real deal problems that pop up all the time. Maybe you start digging and hit solid rock you weren't expecting. Or, bam, the price of steel just doubles overnight. Maybe the owner has a brilliant last-minute design idea. Or it could be something as simple as a month of straight rain that just shuts the whole site down. Every single one of these things costs time, and boy, does it cost a lot of money.
So how do the pros deal with all this built-in chaos? Well, they don't just sit around crossing their fingers, that's for sure. They actually build the solution right into the budget from day one. And that solution, that safety net for the project, is called contingency.
So, what are we actually talking about here? In simple terms, contingency is a pot of money, a reserve fund that's set aside for one reason and one reason only, to cover all those unexpected costs, the last-minute changes, and the risks that you know are going to pop up. It's basically a planned budget for the unplanned.
Probably the easiest way to picture it is to think of it as your project's risk management toolkit. This is so important. It is not extra cash to be spent on nicer countertops or fancier lighting. No, it is a critical, essential tool designed to soak up the financial hits that are pretty much guaranteed on any big construction job.
Now, it's not just one big pile of cash. A really smart budget creates what's basically a three-layered defense, using different types of contingency. So let's break down what those are.
Okay, so this table lays it all out for us. First up, you've got your construction contingency. This covers the physical stuff, what we call hard costs, materials, labor, that kind of thing. Then there's soft cost contingency, which is for the non-physical stuff, like if you suddenly need more legal help or permits get delayed. And finally, you have the owner's contingency. Think of this as the developer's last resort, their final line of defense for huge, project-wide problems.
And this chart, it shows you perfectly how risk totally changes the math. See, for a brand new building on a nice clean site, you might be fine with a 5 to 10% contingency. But a renovation, especially of an old building, oh man, that is a box of surprises. You have no idea what's hiding behind those walls. That higher risk means you need a much, much bigger safety net, often 10 to 20% of your hard costs.
Now, you might be thinking this is just a nice to have or a smart idea. Nope. It's a hard and fast rule of the game, especially when there's a bank involved. Let's talk about how lenders make sure you're playing by the rules.
Let me be clear. There is no lender on planet Earth who is going to give you a multi-million-dollar construction loan if they don't see a healthy contingency in your budget. In fact, they usually demand a minimum of 5 to 10%. Why? Because they know the risks better than anyone. They're protecting their money, and in doing so, they're forcing you to build a project that can actually survive the real world.
And you can't just dip into this money whenever you feel like it. It's not like going to an ATM. It is a very formal, controlled process. First, you have to prove why you need it. Then you submit a super detailed document called a change order. That has to get approved by the owner or the lender. And only then can you actually get the funds. This whole strict process is there to make sure that money is only ever used for real, legitimate, unforeseen problems.
So the big question is, how do you even know how much you need? Well, it all comes down to risk assessment. Just look at this list. Things like a tricky site with bad soil, working on a historic building, a crazy tight schedule, a market where material prices are all over the place. Every single one of these things cranks up the risk. And that directly means you need a bigger financial cushion.
Okay, so all of this brings us to what really matters, the winning strategy. Because what separates a successful project from a train wreck isn't just having a contingency fund. It's the entire mindset behind how you manage it.
Let's really break down the two different mindsets here, because it's night and day. The rookie developer often falls for these classic traps. They see that contingency money and think, hey, we can use that for a cool upgrade. They're being optimistic. Or they'll set the percentage way too low just to make the project look cheaper on paper. But the pro? They're playing a completely different game. They budget only for things they truly don't know. They keep obsessive, detailed logs of everything because data always wins over hope. And they know that most risks happen early, so they plan for that. It is a fundamental difference in discipline.
And, this really drills down to the absolute core of it. As one source put it, the sophistication of contingency planning often separates experienced developers from novices. And that is the honest truth.
So, at the end of the day, this isn't about just slapping a 5% or 10% label on your budget and calling it good. True mastery, true expertise, comes from a deep strategic understanding of where the specific risks are hiding in your particular project. It's about knowing how to aim your financial reserves to protect against those specific threats. It is a game of financial chess, not checkers.
Which brings us right back to the beginning, and it all boils down to one simple question. When you've got millions of dollars and years of your life on the line, is your safety net actually strong enough to handle the storm when it comes?